new Fairly Odd Parents. The thing is, I like the intro for this, for A New Wish, but what bugs me about it is because it's shortened, it's trying to do more to be able to keep some memorability to it. I like that it's a play on the original, sort of a remix. But the thing is, it has too many notations to it. Like there's too many, like or it's too shortened in certain ways. Like it's either shortened in too many ways or has too much length to it in certain places. You know what I mean? Like when we get to the breakdown with Hazel doing the dirtbag rides and pizza fries and stuff, like listing off things like Timmy did. With Timmy, it was a lot more short. It was shorter. It was a lot simpler. Obtuse, Robert Goose, green moose, guava juice. Like it kept it about what, 3 syllables or so. Like 3-4 syllables, but with like Hazel, there's a few more syllables she's using, and it kind of becomes a case of it stops being a jingle that can get in your head as the original was. The original was a straight up jingle that's like, no, that's in my head and I can memorize that because in proper rhythm. But this one has a little too much happening that it's like your mind can lose it. I know it might sound crazy. I don't know, Chad. Let me know. Let me know if y'all get what I'm saying, because it's just something that's kind of noticed with the song. It's not even bad. It's just something that's like, I feel it could be more. But I digress. I think it's because they wanted Hazel's lyrics to connect to wishes we actually see in the show. You know what? You're right, because that is basically. Yeah, they wanted to have some continuity. They wanted continuity with the intro and the show, and I guess that is a way to distinguish it, to say, oh, these are things you're going to see, which I don't know. That begs the question: if they come back for a season 2, if they remix the intro again to match the wishes of that season. It'd be sick if they do, but understandable if they don't try it, because it's like the money, like American shows are not like anime where you can keep doing where you can switch out the intros as much as you want. Like, oh, Ice Cream Hero says Timmy's wishes nearly destroyed the town on a regular basis, and that is hilarious to watch. Hazel's wishes feel smaller in comparison. I miss the chaotic energy of the original. That is true, but I honestly like the more lower tone of this one. I think if you're gonna make a new one, you don't need to match what the original did. Like if you're doing a new adaptation or so, or in this case a sequel series, I think it's fun to like distinguish yourself from what the original was doing, so that way you stand out better. But you also recognize, you still capture the spirit of the original. And that's the biggest thing I want to say, is this show captures the spirit of the original perfectly and improves on so many things about the original. That's something I really enjoyed about this. Like, I did really enjoy Timmy, like, from the original series. I grew up with the original. I saw it when it premiered. But, like, I can recognize Timmy sucked. Like, Timmy was genuinely kind of a jackass of a kid. And you couldn't help but think, man, he could do so much good for everybody if he just wished for some good. For, like, say, for instance, Chester, his poor friend. He genuinely could have just wished for him to have some wealth to help him out. But it's just like, oh, nah. And then there's the fact that it's like a lot of his wishes would almost get them killed or get the town destroyed or something like that. It's just like crazy. But it's just one of those things where you see how Hazel is, and her wishes are like sort of believable. Like, I can see it. You could see a kid actually doing this or making these type of wishes. Or I even like in this one where sometimes it's a case of Cosmo and Wanda just mess up the wish. Like, there's sort of a stipulation that they have to meet, or a prerequisite for the wish that they have to meet in order for them to accomplish the wish. And I actually like that. It's a way of limiting fairy powers properly. versus the rules where they kind of try to address things but also don't address things properly. It's like, I don't know. The way they do the rules here, I like that it splits things up. I like that they decided, let's have certain aspects of magic be handled by these magical figures. You know, they actually expand upon that a little bit from the original, because we did see something like that with the Tooth Fairy, or even with, say, Cupid, but it always felt like there were more moments where it's like you could have introduced more magical entities to handle these different magical things. You know, I like that they have Father Time to be able to handle like time wishes, just because it's like you need that. you need someone else, a third party on that front, versus just letting the fairies take people back in time. And that's just I really enjoy that aspect of it, you know. And a lot of the new characters were pretty fun too. I liked Hazel's friend group. You know, I'm blanking on both of their names right now. Chat, remind me of their names if you can, please. Hazel's two friends. Especially because of Timmy's secret wish. Yeah, man, that whole secret wish thing was so messed up. I'm like, why would you do that? My God. But I will say, it's like, Hazel is such a fun character. It's such a nice character because she's very indicative of just a regular kid, like a genuine average kid. Like, even her problem is very average. And it's like, oh, okay, Timmy was kind of, let's be real, Timmy's kind of an extraordinary case, to be honest, because he was being abused. Like, we can't pretend like Timmy was not being abused by Vicky, okay? Like, he was having a pretty rough life and had neglectful parents to top it all off. So it's understandable why he was just like, I mean, he, like, the way he was. So, but with Hazel, it's a case of she really is an average kid who just moved from, what, I think the suburbs to the city or something. Like, she just moved to a whole new place, so she has no friends, and her big brother, who she idolized, moved on. I mean, is gone to college, not moved on. Like, went to college, and, you know, she doesn't really have him with her, and so she just feels scared, and then eventually runs into Cosmo and Wanda. Like, it's just kind of a nice happenstance, you know. I kind of like that a little bit. It kind of also takes away a bit of a predestiny aspect to it, where, I don't know, I won't say the original had Timmy as a predestined godchild so much. I want to say, I mean, with him having Vicky, it was a case of, like, such an extreme case. But with Hazel, it's just, well, that's the thing, though. Now that I think about it, the setup works perfectly here, because at the end of the day, with Hazel, she wasn't miserable enough that no, that's right, Cookie. I'm forgetting Cookie. I was about to make a bad point, but I remember Cookie was originally who she was supposed to be assigned to. But yeah, it's I think it's one of those things where, I'm gonna play this without. I'll try to just skip around. I think it's one of those things where, like, it works really well in the vein of, like, I just like the fact that it's a setup in that Hazel just happens upon Cosmo and Wanda, you know, or they happen upon each other. And so it's just a matter of these three find out they just click, man. Or more or less, Cosmo and Wanda kind of, they sort of force themselves a little bit to be her godparents. That's the thing. But it's kind of nice just to see that it's like, you know, it's almost like two parents meeting, I don't want to say it. coming across an adoptee or so and really connecting with them. But I don't know, it was, and I don't know. It's just I just like that they changed it up from that versus, oh, Cosmo and Wanda just got reassigned. It's like, no, they retired and then they came out of retirement. It's fun. It's fun to have it like that, honestly. And I think it helps with showcasing the show getting older or maturing, you know, or not really maturing, I should say. It feels like, oh, the show understood, let's just grow things up versus just stopping it in one way. I wonder how Chester is living his life. Is he more successful than his father, or is Chester some homeless dude living out of a dumpster? They gotta show Chester with a successful, like, baseball career. They gotta show him with that or something. Like, that way it's like, oh good, Chester got by fine. They can get Jason Marsden to come back. They really could just get Jason Marsden to come back for it. They got the original AJ from right, so really just sprinkle the cameos in here and there, kind of like Cora did. Yeah, the cameos were nice. Like, I like that they weren't too overtaking. They didn't feel too much like the old show is just gonna take over everything. If they do get a season 2, I think it would be better to be sparing with all the old show's characters. Don't use Vicky as often as possible. Don't use Crocker as often as possible. Just every now and then they show up, but for the most part, we should be more focused on the type of villains that Hazel's gonna be dealing with. And that's the thing. In terms of villains, I like Dev. I do like that they sort of tried to give him a bit of a Zuko arc. It's like, when in doubt, try to make a Zuko. Like, and I think that was honestly a nice touch that they were going for continuity with a new wish, versus doing something where it's like, oh yeah, let's versus just, oh yeah, he just sucks. Like, Dev just genuinely sucks, and there's no redemption to him. Because I think in this day and age, they do want to. We're now at a point of, okay, we had these brat characters in the past, but a lot of these but we now understand that certain people who might have inspired those characters or so actually have some type of backstory to them, or there is a reason for why they are the way they are, you know? And so it's like, let's actually explore a little bit of that. So we're not just trying to say, oh yeah, all you kids are just assholes, or some of you kids are just little assholes. You know, it's like, well, let's really get down to this. The fact that Dev is a neglected child whose dad just only thinks about the business, it's like, yeah, that's gotta suck. And then his dad is obsessed with another kid in his classroom. Yeah, you can see where the frustration goes. It's like you see how, and you do see where they go with him getting a fairy and getting Perry and getting the anti-fairy IREP. You get that it's like, yeah, he genuinely just wanted the ability to just be loved by his dad, but he can't. They can't make people fall in love with you. Well, not to say fall in love, but they couldn't force people against their will to do things for him, you know, and that's why he wanted the anti-fairies. You see the natural progression of all of his folly, you know. But you also understand his redemption when he realizes, yeah, none of this is really right. Like, you're doing all of this because your dad, and at the end of the day, it's like, you kind of got to take that up with your dad. It's not Hazel's fault, and it's not the world's fault. It's your dad's fault. That's and it's kind of crazy how they had what was his name? The Dema kid. Like, they brought him back and gave him a kid. It's crazy to me because I'm just like, wow, that I never thought they would go that route. I never thought we'd see that character again, but they just said, nah, fuck it, bring him back. I'm like, all right, I'm with it. Let's see what. And the fact that he's evil, that it's like, yeah, someone who was just kind of chained up for a good chunk of his life. Or maybe not a good chunk, but was chained up and put into forced labor. Yeah, he's not about to turn out great. It's like, what? I'm trying to remember the dad's name, but I am blanking on it. But yeah, it's just the fact that they genuinely, it's just genuinely a good show. I like the arc overall, and I could see how Dev got to where he got, see his proper progression, and I like what they committed to with it. Like, I like where they were willing to commit, where it went with the finale. Dale Demodome. There we go. Dale Demodome. Yeah, Dale. Thanks, Spin. I'm glad Dev isn't a one-note rich kid. You can see the good in him. Yeah, because that's the thing. Sometimes rich kids are not the worst on purpose. A lot of the time, they genuinely don't know better, and it takes the village to actually raise them versus the parents, because the parents are not home. Dale Demodome, son of Doug Demodome, owner of the Dimsdale Demodome. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Doug Demodome was actually deceased in the current timeline. He was like in his 50s, 60s in the original series, and his son was around 10 to 13 years old. Yeah, I mean, it's not hard to see. Like, they could go that route of, like, Doug died. Always drink water. Okay. I enjoyed Dev a lot. I like that Dale Demodome has been clearly traumatized by his time under Vicky and is creating generational trauma for Dev. Yep. I'll tell you, man, like, now that millennials are, like, writing these shows and everything, it's like, we really wanted to unpack generational trauma heavy. It's like, let's figure out why you are the way you are. You know, why is Dennis a menace? That's where millennials are. Like, if you get millennial Dennis the Menace, it's going to explore the neglect of the parents, or how the parents are messing up somehow. That's what I'm calling if you have a millennial write a Dennis the Menace fucking movie. Rich people use that Onigiri, shout out to Onigiri. Rich people use that money to keep themselves alive a long ass time. Doug Demodome may actually be alive in Mr. House type situation. Jeez. Oh, also, Chad, I wanted to let y'all know I got some new designs up on the merch store that y'all can check out. I'm not sure. I feel like the stream has the store in it or underneath it in the description, but I could be wrong. Yeah, it might not be there, but you know, would appreciate y'all if y'all could drop a few bucks. They're discounted currently, so they're currently on a discount, so get them while you can for only less than 24 hours by this point. So, but if you can't, but if the merch store isn't on the stream, then just go to the description. The link is there, right under merch. Also, super chats are on. But yeah, this new one, I genuinely think it's like they saw what the original was and they understood there's potential. There's very much potential for this to be more than what it is, and sometimes they would touch upon that, especially like in some of the movies. Like, so it's just like it's one of those things where it's like you wish like it went the original went the Danny Phantom route, you know, where like that would have been nice. Hey, tune for that. Thanks, Onigiri. Oh, but yeah, like I think it's just such a. Sorry, I appear to have lost my train of thought. I will say the dynamic between these three are so funny. Between Cosmo, Wanda, and Hazel, it's just so much of a case of the screw ups are very much more on both Cosmo and Wanda, and that's what I really love is the fact that Cosmo and Wanda are back to two halves of a whole idiot status. Like I was so glad that was back, because I'm like, because the old series had Wanda just be known as the nag after a while, and I'm like, what are we doing? Like, it was just this old style of humor of I hate my wife, that type of shit, and I never understood that. I was like, we're really doing I hate my wife humor like that was funny back in like the 50s and shit, like in the old Looney Tunes, but like in this day and age, I don't want to see a husband and wife like arguing and being nasty to each other. It just feels wrong. You know what I mean? I mean, they would try. I want to say they try to balance it out, but a lot of the time they be kind of wilding. They were kind of wilding, bro. Sometimes, and I just wasn't down with it. Ooh. But hey, man, I'm just glad they brought them back to their basics of actually being a loving couple. Like, they're actually cute together. They're genuinely silly and fun together. And it's just nice seeing them both screw up every now and then. And it's really nice just seeing Wanda be a goofball. Like, she's not just the responsible one. I mean, she can be. And that's the thing. That's the thing. I really like that they're playing on the parent aspect of the godparents. Like, both Cosmo and Wanda genuinely try to teach a nice lesson to Hazel. Like, helping, like, guiding her and everything. And it's like, I missed that. There was a bit of that in the original, but I think this one does it a lot better. You know what I mean? And then I'd also like the fact that between all three of them, they can be such chaotic dumbasses. Like, they get into such stupid shit. Like, I still laugh at that episode where Hazel wished she was her mom's assistant, and they had to fake their way through a business meeting. Like, that episode was just so, like, all three of them were just so dumb. But you're just having fun with it because of how dumb they are. Like, I really liked a lot of the character interactions here. This was just such a good show, honestly. And I really also want to praise the animation. This is a gorgeous looking series. Like, this is the type of thing that's like, this is what we want to see with 3D animation, actually turning 2D designs into 3D and still allowing for like funny levels of expression. Like, there's a lot of good expressions in this show, and it's just hilarious a lot of the time, Like, it's just something that I cannot, like, I really gotta praise this show for. It's just how pretty it looks. That's how it goes. It's bit rating. Guess it helped. But yeah, man, it's just a pretty show. I like the shading that it had. I like the shading effect. I really like this. It's just this nice warm softness to it that just makes it feel welcoming to watch. So, yeah, but I kind of want to put one thing out in the air is I honestly feel Hazel helped fix Cosmo and Wanda's relationship. Like, I feel like low-key, like, those two were on the verge of divorce with Timmy. Like, if you pay attention to how they were acting towards each other by the end of the show, like, it feels like they were on the verge of divorce. So, like, I feel like if they didn't retire, they probably would have split up. So them splitting up and then finding Hazel, it's like it rekindled their love of being godparents. Like, straight up, like, it had to have. Like, just because it's a matter of, like, Timmy was just that freaking rough. Maybe, like, don't get me wrong, they probably still love Timmy, but that motherfucker put them through the ringer. Like, they almost died multiple times. The fairy secret almost got revealed multiple times because of him. He messed up time. He froze time for 50 years just so he could hold on to them. Like, seriously, Timmy was fucked up. Like, he genuinely almost messed them up as a couple. I genuinely believe that. You might be saying I'm wild and some shit. You might be thinking I'm crazy, but, like, I genuinely think Timmy almost fucked up their marriage. You say they were trapped in a fishbowl. Exactly. Like, at least with Hazel, it's like, oh yeah, y'all can just pretend to be my neighbors. They get an apartment under Hazel. They get housing, proper housing with Hazel. Like, come on, man. They got everything with Hazel, whereas they got screwed over so hard with Timmy. Oh, this little joke right here. But like, I mean it, man. Like this, it genuinely feels like Hazel was the best thing that could happen to them. But hopefully that man Timmy got some therapy later on. They could low-key write a joke like that. Like Timmy says, "Oh yeah, talk to my therapist about this all the time." He had to would be real funny if he mentioned something like, he even talked me out of believing that I was a fairy for a while. Because if you remember the Drake Bell movies, the third one had Timmy become a fairy. Like he became 10 years old again, like his 10-year-old design again, but now he's a fairy. And keep in mind, he was like, I don't know if he was married to Tootie by that point, but he was with Tootie by that point, and he just said, "Hey, I'm just gonna become a fairy," and that's just a thing now. I'm like, what? It was such a weird thing. Like that third movie was so odd, man. Like Fairly OddParents was in a rough patch. It's so crazy. I hope he did end up with Tootie. I know a lot of people hope for that. I would hope for it too. Some people speculate he got with Trixie, and I'm like, nah. I didn't even like it in Wishology when they were pushing that. I was like, if this was like season 1, season 2 Trixie, like sure, but we're talking Trixie when she gets mean and nasty and so conceited. I'm like, nah. Oh my god. Really would have been funny if they ever had Trixie and Tootie meet. Because it's like, yeah, they never really had like Tootie address the fact that no, yes they did. The Valentine episode did that, but even then Tootie I don't think really did anything to Trixie. Trixie is one of my favorite characters in the whole show. Trixie was a fun character, but she became annoying when they did the whole she needs to be told she's pretty thing. I was like, no, man. Ugh. I also want to praise this show's sense of design. I love this texturing when it comes to Hazel's hair. Like I like that it's messy and with this nice detailing of the curls and such. I even like the design, the costume design they did for Wanda, where it's like has way more of a distinguished outfit. The fact that her pants aren't just black, trying to emulate Cosmo or anything. It's like, no, let's genuinely give her an outfit. I will say, like, both. It's funny, like, I'm kind of glad. I am glad they got the original voice actors back for Cosmo and Wanda, and it kind of works here and they work here even though they definitely sound older. Like they sound much older than they did before. But to be fair, this is Cosmo and Wanda when they are older. So, granted, by not that many years, of course, but still, it's really nice to see them. It's honestly just a great series. I'm so happy that it actually turned out well. Like the fact that they got like a writer for Infinity Train on this, that was insane to me. And then I watch it and it's like, okay, yeah, no, this is written by someone who wrote for Infinity Train. Like it's so much like the DNA is right there. I see it, I feel it. Like, oh my god. Just thank goodness they didn't have Dev go the route of that one dude in season 3. Oof. Or season 2. But no, season 3. That's the one. Timmy needed to leave Trixie alone. He did. So far, this is a good sequel, and always a toss-up with sequel revivals, reboot spins. Yeah. That's always the thing when it comes to it. It's like reboots can be good if there's genuine love and care for the original material. Like you can change things up. You can be different. Because you need it to stand out and you don't want to just repeat what's been done before. But it can always go bad if you do it in a way where it's like you clearly ignored what made the original great. Like you just said, nah, we're just going to do our own thing. Like sometimes it can turn out well, but sometimes it turns out ass. Most times it turns out ass, because it's like, y'all really did not understand what made this special. Like, you just did not understand the spirit of this. Dang. Oy. I chalk it up to like that one DMC with Don't Tay in it. You know, if y'all remember that one. What was it? Y'all remember Don't Tay? It's like, the thing is, the game, like this game, ultimately, it didn't, people hated it for the redesign, but then they play the game and it's like, no, this actually bangs, bro. This is actually good. Like, the game is actually good. It's just the look of it just didn't feel right. And it's like, that's a case of capturing the spirit of the original to a degree. Just not in terms of tone. That's the only thing where it's like, yeah, tone-wise, this is a bit off. But, Nate. Nate. Winchester was all covered in bumps. Story and dialogue was garbage. Yeah, but the gameplay, it's like they understood the spirit of the combat, you know? And it's like, you gotta do something in that. You gotta be able to understand the spirit of what made something great before you, like, can try to adapt it. And too many times it's just, I don't know, they just forget it. I don't know why. Like Ben 10 reboots. The more cartoon style was pretty okay. Yeah. Let's see. One of my favorite episodes was when Timmy wished he had no emotions. I do not. How do you feel? I do not. Just went. Then Trixie dated Chester out of spite. Then Chester said, "No girls, give me the hives." Yeah, that was such a weird episode, man. I remember that. I think it was the one episode. It was. Wasn't it like they got him out of it? No, there was another thing where Timmy sort of like was doom and gloom for a while. It was sort of later seasons, but they did some weird gross shit where like a girl that Timmy liked, Cosmo pretended to be, and to get him out of his funk, they had Cosmo dressed up as that girl, like asked Timmy for a kiss, and Timmy just did it. And then when he found out it was Cosmo, he freaked out. But at the end of the day, it's like, why did you have Cosmo kiss Timmy against his will? Like, what are we doing here? Holy shit! Like, oh my god! It's like the old show was so fucking weird, man. Oh. Finding Emo is the episode you were talking about. That's one of my faves. Finding Emo. What the fuck did they call it? That Finding Emo. God damn it, Elmer. Freaking Butch Hartman. Oy. Finding Emo. AJ's new design is pretty cool. AJ's design is such a weird thing because it's like, he's like, he looks like a refrigerator. Like, he's just, like, his head is so small compared to his body. Like, look at him. Look at him, man. Look at his head. Like, look at it. Look at how they got this, man. He is built like a fridge. Like, and this nigga, holy shit. Look at this nigga, bro. Oh my god. Like, I don't know, the way they were designing black folk in this episode, it's like, it's very commendable. Like, it's not bad by no means, but it's like, damn. It's like, we are not gonna be caught lacking, okay? Like, they straight up said it. It's like, we're not gonna be caught lacking in this, okay? You're not getting us on this. Oh man. But yeah, I genuinely enjoy what this show was doing, and I really am glad it turned out as great as it did. Like, it could have genuinely fallen to the wayside. It could have gotten It could have just been every type of wrong. It could have just been a pop culture machine of just like, oh, here's this thing, this current event thing, and all that, and it's like, ugh. Like, I'm glad it turned out as great as it did. Hazel is a great character. Cosmo and Wanda are finally at peak. They're finally back to where we needed them to be. Like an actual loving couple that's just goofy and silly. And they both share responsibility and also can make boneheaded decisions. Like, ugh. Thank you, man. I'm just genuinely tired of the I hate my wife trope. It's like, like, come on, guys. Let's just, like, show a loving couple. Just, please. You can do that. It's okay. Fuck whoever tells you, no, that's unrealistic. Go to therapy. Take your ass to therapy if that's unrealistic to you, okay? Because that's not good. That's not a good thing that you think that's unrealistic. Jeez. Oi.